My name's Anthony Pasquarello. I topped Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals in 2011 and 3 YCSs back-to-back in 2012. Although I stopped playing in 2013, I've rediscovered my passion for the game through older formats and love sharing ideas about how to play. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Masterclass. I'm by no means a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my tournament run of Deck Devastators 3. Thanks so much for watching up until this point. Appreciate all the support. Right now we are 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw going into round 5. And I don't really remember this round, and by the time the series gets done, we're going to be on the next RBET. So I like mixing up my content a lot, but I realize that by doing videos like these, I feel like I'm providing content that I like making, I like putting out there, and it seems consistent. So I feel like this is a win. And we're going second in this game where our opponent summons Swap Frog. The bounce back. The pass. Now we have a pretty good hand here. I notice MST is probably going to be dead if we're playing the mirror match. I really don't remember this game. That's very interesting. I'm going to swing for 1,000 here, because if they have anything, Dark Dust or our Monarchs are going to take care of it next turn. Dupe Block is pretty bad in this scenario, because they do have Monarchs and Treeborn to just get rid of it. But this is, if it is a true Frog mirror match, it does get a little interesting, because it kind of turns into a Monarch war. Are you gonna, commit a Monarch to the field, swing for 24, they rise it back on top, swing it turns into the 24 war. But we see a Rhoda, so we're not going to be playing against pure frogs. Looks like a Hero Frog variant. They summon Alias. They do set a back row, so now MST is looking okay. We draw another really good card. This is all we want now, right? We just want Monarchs. So right off the rip by MST, this is a little dicey. Because it could be Dust Shoot, and I'm not going to say I don't recommend that play, because sometimes you feel the need to... They have one back row, you have a space, look at the board now. I'm going to put them a turn behind if I rise to this water monster, or if I, Caius the Treeborn, that hurts. Ryza, Caius the Treeborn hurts, so this is a good spot, and I think it's worth playing the MST. So we get back Treeborn. Just have Spark and Rhoda in there. I love how Rhoda's text is literally like hanging out of the graveyard, like underneath the other cards. Well, card in this case, but... So now we're thinking, right? Do we want to Caius, Ryza? Ryza seems very good. Gemini Spark's gone. I don't think they're going to have an Honest. So yes, we're putting a hero in there. Miracle Fusion is going to be a little bit more live than it would be if we Caiused. But I think we'd probably Caius the Frog anyway, so then this is still going to be just as live, well, the Miracle Fusion. So putting Treeborn Frog on top of the deck is just, it's not nice, right, to our opponent. So you're going to pitch it and special summon Swap Frog. We know they had the Swap Frog, we're putting it back in their hand, but we are setting them behind a turn on draws, which I think is okay. So they have 5 cards. When we draw, we're going to have 7 cards. So we're up 2. Depending on what they do, if they tribute this for a Monarch, then we're still gonna, they're getting rid of a card on the field to get rid of this card. So it looks like they're just gonna go into Dupe Block. I think we could probably fast forward that, right? Dupe Block. Oh, and a Miracle Fusion too. So that's fine. Good play by my opponent. Very good, very good. Great card to draw as we check our opponent's graveyard. Now we have, this is where, see, now I haven't been testing with Frog since this tournament. I don't plan on playing it in the next Ribbit, no pun intended. But this is where we have so many options, and top decking Econ is just wild. I mean, Dark Dust Spirit answers everything, right? Do Frogs are, 10 times out of 10 missing timing for everything. And I'm thinking about this one. And they're like, you're good. Yeah, take your time. Really think about it. I don't think I need to use Econ right now. Dark Dust answers the problem. And then they just have a Treeborn Frog on field. Maybe they Miracle Fuse again, swing for 3,000. Maybe they have some crazy stuff. But I like our spot right here. And yeah, this isn't. What does Old Tone do, huh? I think Dark Dust is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Oh, look at the craftiness. What am I doing? Wow. Wow. Okay. What's my thought process here? I don't remember 100%, but I think this is a nice defensive play. When this dies, it's going to kill everything. Zero is going to blow up everything, and I don't think they're getting their timing. And that kind of protects us for a turn, right? I don't think we had to set the Econ. If they get their Treeborn back, we really didn't have to set the Econ. That's an interesting one. But I guess it protects us for a turn. Especially if they have a Monarch. If I summon this, they would have just had Treeborn. Wow. This is just going right according to plan. That's crazy. That's kind of a crazy play on my part. Definitely takes them by surprise. Very lucky they don't have a Caius or a Ryza or anything, and that Dark Dust Spirit just... Look how free. This doesn't even get to stay on the field anymore. It's no longer standby phase. So now we have 3 to 6 when we draw. I guess they get... I will always be forgetful with Dupe Frog effects, so I suppose they get it. I didn't question it. Now I'm kind of questioning it a little bit. And see, this is just an ugly set. I mean, setting this is protection. If they have a Monarch, we basically lose, because it's a... They could turn a Dupe Frog into attack mode and hit us for exactly 5,000. So, yeah, setting this is still questionable. We could have summoned it and just been fine, and I think we would have been okay the next turn, and then we would have had Treeborn Econ in hand. Should have probably kept it in hand, and now this is just sitting on the field. This is over. If we're gonna set this, yeah, I don't know. Kind of shake my head at it. Probably should have summoned it, but if we're gonna set it, I guess if they have a Monarch, we set this for protection, but it kind of just seems like defensive overkill, if that's such a thing. So I guess we're going to dupe block. Oh, we're not going to dupe block. That was a lie. I attributed for Ryza, because now our foot's on the gas. No Dupe Frogs are gone. We have Substitoad and Econ. But we still can't get our Treeborn back. We know they're setting monsters in defense mode, so maybe that's why we put our foot on the gas. To be honest, I really forgot I even played against this deck during the tournament. I remember almost every other round pretty well, except for this one, so a lot of question marks here, so sorry if this is not too exciting. Or confusing or something, but econing this to attack mode seems pretty good. I think that might be able to get us game that's 23 and then 24 directly. So econ this to attack mode, our Treeborn comes back, tribute it for Caius, rise over this for 23, puts him at 18, attack for game. That should be the correct play. And it is. Oh, but it's not game because they have a fader. But that's fine, right? We're at 5,000. We still have Dupe Block ready to go with Treeborn and Substitoad. If they top deck Miracle Fusion, boo-hoo to us. But they're at 18. Ah, fader's so good. Vader's so good. But just an e-call. They wrote a turn 1 for an alias, I believe, and now they just e-called for an alias. No sign of Stratos. Just another alias in a back row. Interesting. Love them. Love the Stalos. Good top deck. And now, you know, they're not making it easy for us, right? They're not just going to lay down. So we have some thinking to do with this, what that back row could be. Deck plays a few different ones in Raigeki Break and Wing Blast. We saw Gemini Spark already. So we're thinking here. We're thinking. How deep do we want to go, you know? So we're going to play it safe right here. And just enter the battle phase. I could really talk about every turn for like 5 minutes, I feel like. So it is a Gemini Spark. Treeborn's coming back next turn anyway, so there's no reason to get cheeky and turn this to attack mode and try to attack. And it's just like, get the Fader off the field. They went minus for putting it on there, but they kept themselves alive, which is what Fader does. But now we're going to tribute our ultimate +1 for the Stalos. Get a card out of their hand, and they're going to have 1 to our 4, not including the frogs. What is it? Wow, I really thought I was going to tribute that frog for the Stalos and get a card out of their hand, but I suppose dupe blocking and putting the Ryza back in my hand is an alternative. And that's not a bad play. Bounce the Ryza back, yep. Dupe block seems okay. Okay. Not including the frogs, 3 to our 6 when we draw. Otherwise, 4 to our 7 with frogs. So, consistently with a nice plus here. Monarchs doing what they're supposed to do. Dark Dust Spirit, again, MVP of this tournament. Probably throughout the tournament, now we're 5 rounds deep, right, recording these games, and it seems like Dark Dust Spirit has just been such a good card. And you could never undervalue Ryza or Caius or anything. I mean, we know how good they are. So let's keep clicking next play to see us checking things. And our opponent scoops. So Ryza back in the hand seemed like a winning play. Maybe they didn't have too much else. Solid. Could have got a little more dangerous, but without Miracle Fusion, sometimes that's just how those games go. That deck kind of just like peters out a little bit. Peters out? I don't think that's even the term, but welcome to confusing round 5, guys. Pitching a Swap Frog for Swap Frog. Yep, dupe block turn 1. And that's it. And now, right on time. That is ridiculous. And this is a pretty good hand anyway, but that's just insane. That is just pretty insane. Wow, that is a fantastic card to draw. I feel like we put the dupe frog back on top, right? It's always pretty bad in the hand. Yeah, that's a killer. That is an absolute killer. That's a +2. Well, it's not, but the fact that they pitched a Swap Frog to special summon the frog, that is just a game-altering play right there. Nice top deck, Tone. Nice top deck. But we don't have any frog engine stuff happening yet, so we're just trying to get a Substitute or a Swap Frog off the top. We have a nice Caius. We have a nice Gores. Got the Burial, which I'm not a huge fan of. Right on time again. Which I'm not a huge fan of the Burial, but I feel like when people play Soul Release and Crow and you run out of Soul Exchanges, you always want the Burial. So right now I feel like I have a -1 card in my hand, but I'm not like crying about it because it could come in handy. The way this game is going, it doesn't look like it's necessarily going to come in handy, but you never know. Now that we have Frog, we have access to 2, but it could turn into a really good play if we set it and they attack, and after they soul release or something, and then we get to put stuff back into the graveyard, and then also drop the gores when we clear our own field. So there's little things you could do with that. So we just swap Frog the Ryza back to our hand. We always want Monarchs in our hand and not swap Frogs. I mean, ideally we want both, but no heroes yet, just a bunch of Frogs. That is an insane card to see. That is a killer. This card is an absolute killer, and now Soul Exchange is gone. And look at this hand that we can do literally nothing with. Top deck of Fader. Literally can't do a single thing. Oh yeah, now they're looking real good. No effect. Quick 34, and I pack it up real quick. I say, alright. From what looked like such a great game for us, Vanity's Fiend just completely shut the whole thing down. So, yep. 2-1-1. Trying to win 4 in a row so we could get this top cut and finish 6-1-1. And we open subs to Toad, and I'm just going to put a Frog in there, bounce a swap Frog back to my hand and then my turn. We can do all the 1-for-1 stuff if we want, but I don't really want to do that just yet. I think a good turn 1 is not dupe block, but just put Frog in there. There's the Stratos. Stratos so good. I always hate seeing my opponent summon Stratos. It always makes me feel so crappy. Now this is a pretty good, another good Soul Exchange. Are we going to learn from last game though and keep it for a Vanity's Fiend that could hit the field? Or are we going to... I think we're probably just going to 1-for-1, right? Pitch the swap Frog, make dupe block. But we're thinking maybe we tribute this for Dark Dust. Attack for 22, set book. You know, I don't really want to do that. I think we have Pot of Avarice, so we probably want to get our dupe block and run through all of our Froggy plays. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're holding the Soul Exchange, and we're sending stuff, and we're sending stuff, and we're Pot of Avaricing. We're putting all that stuff that we just took from the deck into the graveyard right back. And we're drawing cards. So now both of us have a ton of cards, and I'm just going to pass. I'm going to make them commit to the field. Now they have 7, we have 6. We went first, we have 8 to their 8. And we know they have an alias, and that's it. So this is going to turn into a pretty interesting game, it looks like. It looks like it's going to be a good one. And this time we see Ryza, which is going to set us back a turn, but because he's going to run over the dupe frog, we're going to get the effect and search for our last swap frog, and that dupe frog is going to get shuffled into the deck. Also, with Soul Exchange, I forgot to mention we have 2 Books of Moon, and I think those are key to beating my opponent's Vanity's Fiend, but we draw ours. Speak of the devil. And I think it could be pretty safe here to Soul Exchange. I almost want to keep the Soul Exchange and tribute this for Vanity's Fiend attack and book. And then maybe set another book for protection. But they can't Miracle Fuse. There's only so many outs, but I am gonna Soul Exchange. And we have books for their Vanity's Fiend should they try anything crazy. So able to set a book here because as long as this is on the field, this isn't coming back anyway, so we don't need to worry about having anything in our spell and trap card zone. So now they're a little tight. Vanity's Fiend MVP in the mirror match, right? They summon Swap Frog, and that's just not intimidating. Miracle Fusion is turned off right now. Battle Fader, Trag, Gores, Tree Board, all turned off right now. And he's just going to run over Frog, I think. And that's fine. That's more than fine. That's a nice card to draw. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think we necessarily... If we could summon Swap Frog and send nothing, or we could just summon Beast King and start going for damage, putting the pressure on. We're just going to go Swap Frog. We're going to keep the cards in our hand, because we do have Trag, so the more cards in our hand, the better. That might have been my thought process for that, because at some point, if they do end up getting this off the field, by the time they attack, this is going to be really, really ready to go. Now they have 7 cards in their hand. They probably feel the way I felt last game in their setting. I don't know why it shows the attack and defense. I don't really like that. I'd rather just not know what that monster is if I elect not to show both. But let's just take a look at their hand, even though we pretty much already know what it is. If there's a Gemini Spark, we're in trouble. That's what I'm trying to say. But I just saw the alias and it reminded me they probably could get over this if they had one. But they have a Miracle Fusion they can't use, 2 alias that they can't use, a Battle Fader they can't use, and 2 Vanity's Fiend that they cannot use. So maybe now is the time to summon Barbaros. 24-19 puts him at 37. We don't want to bounce back anything to the hand. Nope, just Swap Frog again. So dainty. So dainty with the damage. Could be going for something crazy here with the Barbaros that I want to surprise you guys with. I could be. I'm not going to tell you. Alias over the Frog. Do I want to go minus on my Book of Moon right now and keep my Frog on the field if they have Gemini Spark? I do book it. And they pass. I love this card. I just sided 1 in this tournament. I didn't get to use it at all, but it is so good, and I feel like such a good surprise to take your opponent by. I feel like this card's not really expected much, so I do like siding 1 or 2. I'm just questioning why I booked that alias. I guess now I can summon Barbaros and swing and hit for 34 and put him at 12 and pretty much end the game. Set another book. And I'm thinking if I wanna book my own Vanity's Fiend, maybe bring back Treeborn. I don't know what I'm even thinking about, why I'm thinking about this. There's no reason to get cheeky, I don't think. I think it's as simple as summon and swing. And still Swap Frogs being summoned, still just playing the little guy game. Now you should be on that summon. I should have sent, I guess I don't have to send Substitute. We only play 1 pot of Avarice now. We still have a dupe frog, so we could get Substitute and dupe frog for a soft dupe lock. Maybe that's why we're not thinning the deck too much. But we do bounce a Swap Frog back. Keep 1 on the field, set a book. Vanity's Fiend is just winning the game. I mean, I'm doing all this extra commentary, but all I have to say is we summon Vanity's Fiend and we just attack with whatever we want. Gemini Spark, again, really destroys us, but I'm just probably going to book this one as well. And then summon this and attack for game. If he has a back row, then we deal with it however we can. But if I book the first one, I'm probably booking this one. They do have a back row. That's a scary card to see. It's a great Caius to see. So many options. I forget what that back row is. What's the play right here, guys? What's the play? This is a short video. Let's talk. What's the play right here? Summon Barbaros, attack. These guys attack. Soul Exchange for Dark Dust Spirit, kill everything that I have on the field. Just kidding, just kidding. I've been saying it for like 9 turns, but I'm pretty sure Summon Barbaros doesn't seem too bad. We have Soul Exchange Dark Dust. We have Soul Exchange Caius if they do have something and can get our stuff off the field and can get Vanity's Fiend on their side of the field next turn. We're at 62. We have Super Pie. We're in such a good spot, but you don't want to play crazy right here. You really want to make sure that you're not going to, excuse me, throw the game away being overly aggressive or anything. So we just summon Barbaros. This is a bluff, and I think that's the right play. Let's go for the 34 and go for game. And again, a handful of dead cards, and Miracle Fusion's not helping either. That is just a game for Vanity's Fiend. Destroyed game 2, destroyed game 3. And that's, yeah. I think that's a solid game. It's a good win. Takes us to 3-1-1. It is the race to Fiend. And, yeah, I don't know. I think I've talked enough this video, so I appreciate, as always, you guys watching. This was a quick one. I feel like game 2 was very fast. I feel like there's not too much more to cover in these. Maybe I'm getting a little more comfortable. Normally, I like doing live commentary while I'm playing. I like talking it out and stuff, but this has been fun so far. So hopefully I'll have the next rounds 6, 7, and 8 out before next weekend. I should be able to have that done no problem. And thank you again. We'll see you in the next one, guys.